All right guys, so we are taking a look today at the Rattan Sequoia. This is a step-through e-bike. This is a torque sensing e-bike, which essentially means if you've seen any other e-bikes on my channel, those are not torque sensing. So essentially, if you pedal, it will just start going. If you use the torque sensor, then it will actually kind of sense what you are pedaling, how much pressure you're putting on, and it will adjust to that. I really do like that because on some e-bikes, if you just start pedaling, it'll just go, and it's not the best. This is a lot more of a refined ride, and I just do prefer that on this one. That being said, right off the bat, this is the best e-bike that I have tested. It is actually the heaviest as well, which is maybe a little bit of a detractor, but you do have the option of the dual batteries if you would like to go with that, and that's going to give you a much longer distance ride. Now, I personally just don't go on really long rides like that, so I'm fine with just the one battery, no issues there. But if you want to go ahead and add that on there, you can. It's just going to attach in this little section. You'll attach these and then you'll run that out of the top. Then you'll essentially have a dual battery setup, and that's going to give you a much longer ride. So right off the bat, this is going to be a 1200 watt class 3 e-bike with a top speed of around 28 miles per hour. Although if you're going downhill, then you could possibly get a little bit more. Here you can see this is the e-bike battery, 20 amp hour 960. Charging voltage is 54.6. Charging this, then no more than 5 amps, and discharge no more than 30 amps. So it is a 48 volt 1920 watt hour, and I really do like this display because it will tell you how much you are actually using while you're using it. It'll shoot up to 999, or if you're only using a little bit, so you'll know how fast you're actually burning up the battery or how conservative you are being with that battery capacity. I'm going to probably ride this throughout the winter as the 26-inch fat tires are really great in the snow. It's November of 2024 and it is actually snowing quite a bit outside right now, so there is the potential that I will take this out in the snow and show you how it handles. I did do an initial ride when I first got this when it was sunny, and I've done a couple rides in the nice, beautiful sunny weather. However, with that fat tire, it's going to be able to conquer snow a little bit better. And if you deflate the air in the tires a little bit more, you'll get a little bit more grip on that, that deep snow. However, I think most people out there are probably going to ride this when the weather is good outside. All right, so you'll notice up front something that kind of sets apart this brand. They do have these really powerful bright lights up in the front. You'll turn that on. The thumb drive there, this puts out a ton of light. It's very bright. I'm not a big night riding guy, but if I'm riding around dawn and I want people to be able to see me, I will definitely use that right there. So this is where your controller is going to be housed, and this is also where, if you do put the extra battery on there, this is where it will plug in. It'll go in through this top wire through there, and it will go inside of this little compartment there. So this is where your controller is, and your pedals right here. Now this does have metal pedals. I do like that. A little bit nicer than some of the plastic ones, but at this price point, I do think that metal should be the norm. In the rear, we do have disc brakes. This is Fast Ace. On this side, you will see the derailleur and the derailleur guard as well. This is really nice if you set down your bike in the wrong way or if it falls over. This is going to protect your derailleur. So this derailleur is the M40, that is Sunrace. This does also have a Shimano cassette, and I do believe this is an 8-speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is an 8-speed. And onto the front, you will see that there is not a very good chance of the chain coming out, as there is a guard on either side to protect it from coming out of that sprocket. You also do have the option of locking out the front suspension or keeping it open, and this is typically where I will keep it kind of locked in place there. Depending on the riding you're doing, you can unlock that or lock it up really nice. So I love that option if I'm riding on different terrain. All right, taking a look at the handlebars, we do have the power button here, and that will turn on the display. You'll see you have the display of the miles per hour, and here is going to be your watts on this part. So right now, obviously, we aren't pedaling, so that's going to be 0 watts, but while you're pedaling, you can actually see how many watts you are using from that 1940 watt-hour battery. And up top you will have the battery percentage. I do like that it tells you the battery percentage. Instead of just giving you like 3 lines, 4 lines, it says 90% right there, how far you went the last time you rode, and this will be the setting that you use. So right now we have no pedal assist. If we want to do 1 pedal assist, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I believe that's it. So you have 5 different settings, and that's going to be controlled over here. So if you want to do a little less, a little bit more, you can do that. You'll also have your light that will turn on there. I know on camera it's showing up kind of flickering, but that's just a frame rate issue. That's not actually how it appears. If you want to see the info, there's your odometer, there's the max, average, time. So you'll have the 2 brake levers, front and rear, just like every other bike. This is going to be 1 through 8. That is going to show you what gear you're in. And there are 2 levers right here that are going to be able to control that. Very easy to do. Taking a look over here at the left side, if you want to go without pedaling, you want to just use this lever. That will be how you make yourself go forward. With this thumb drive rather than a throttle, the only downside is if you want to change this, it's kind of a weird way to grip it. So if you want to change the passenger settings while holding it down, it's weird to grab, but you can also just reach up with your thumb and do that and then go back to holding down the throttle. You have your faux leather grips. Do feel really nice. They don't slip, they don't move, and it's very ergonomic with this little bump out. I don't know if you can actually see that from here, but it is a little bit flatter in this section, so it is kind of ergonomic for having your hands right here on the handle. I'll lift up the rear and let it go, seeing how fast we can go. Got up to about 35 miles an hour, which is really fast. I don't think I've gotten it to that speed with resistance. That's what it maxes out at with no resistance on the rear. And one thing I did want to point out, this is a step through, however, it doesn't have any frame flexing or anything like that. This is very strong and very well reinforced. Just wanted to mention that before we take it on a ride. All right, so we are taking this out on a nice, beautiful day here in sunny Colorado. We are shifting through some gears here, just checking everything out. It actually does hook up really nicely. I have never used this derailleur before, but it is pretty much instant. It has some really good brakes. This is a heavy bike, so I am pretty happy that it has some really nice, solid brakes on it. So we're gonna do an uphill running through all of the pedal assist levels. This is gonna be level 1. We're getting about 1 or 2 miles per hour. Switching it up, we're getting upwards of 11 or 12 on the pedal assist 2. On 3, we're looking at about 17 miles an hour. In 4, we're looking at about 20 miles an hour. Again, this is uphill, so just note that. And we are hitting 30 miles an hour. This is starting to flatten out a little bit. This is going to be a bit more neutral. It's going to be slight downhill with some uphills, but it's mostly going to be kind of level. Let's go ahead and do one top speed test. 2 miles an hour. It's 14, then 20. About 25. All right, now we're doing it with some pedaling because I had been doing mostly just the throttle, and it does feel really good. There's no ghost pedaling, which I do really like on this. And ghost pedaling happens when you don't have a torque sensing bike. No matter how fast you pedal, you can't keep up with how fast the bike is going. This is really great for eliminating that ghost pedaling and keeping the bike going at the pace that you are pedaling. Feels really good. I like this third because it just feels a little bit more comfortable. Now I do always wear a helmet on these, but I'm wearing shorts and a long sleeve, but it is like a cotton long sleeve. So if I was going 30 miles an hour on this thing and I was to fall over, I could really hurt myself. So I like to keep it around 20 miles an hour when I'm, not in protective gear, like at the very least some jeans or some sort of pants that are not going to get horrible road rash. So like I said, this is a really nice ride. I'm sticking to third gear and pedaling, and it's really nice. Switching back and forth, kind of switching the gears. It is super smooth. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of a hill climb over here and kind of see how that is. This may not look super steep on camera, but it is fairly steep, and I am trying to find the gearing and see how the e-bike works with the pedaling. All right, we've got another hill climb here. This one's a little bit steeper. Now we're gearing down quite a bit on this one, but I'm not working super hard. The torque sensor is doing its job. While it does feel a little harder to pedal, it's not the end of the world. It's not like I'm, biking on a regular bike, but it certainly isn't just doing all of the work. And if I wanted it to do all the work, I could just switch over to the throttle. Overall, a very smooth ride. I do really like the thick tires down there. Those fat tire bikes, they just really are smooth on roads and off-road, because even though they do have suspension, it does have a front suspension on it, a lot of that cushion and a lot of that smooth ride is actually going to come from those larger tires. And you can actually see on the display here how many watts are actually being used. If I am, fully on the throttle there, I'm using quite a bit, but when I pull off of it, it goes down to 0. And we do have a 1900 watt battery, so if you were sitting there hammering on it the whole time, almost 1,000 watts there, you basically get, I guess, about a little under 2 hours. But if you do stack on top of it the additional battery, you're going to get even more. This test was done without that extra battery, so in this scenario I probably would have gotten about 2 hours, a little bit under that, if I was just hammering on it the whole time, doing all the climbing, putting it on the pedal assist 5. But in my mind, about 2 hours is probably right around what I would ride anyway, but I'm not going to be riding completely on the throttle when I actually ride, so I'll probably be able to get 3, maybe even 4 hours out of this bike in a way that I would traditionally ride an e-bike. I kind of stuck in this same area. I put about 9 miles on it riding around this area, but since this video I have put about 30 to 40 extra miles on this bike. Let's go ahead and give this thing a review. What are my thoughts on it after riding it for about 50 miles or so? So I think the seat is super comfortable. The ride is very comfortable, especially with combining the seat and the tires, that fat tire on there. I think it's really nice. The battery is very substantial, and I do love that it is able to easily remove. It is also really nice that you can add on that extra battery if you really want that extra power. I did end up doing that, even though I don't need it. I just think it is a nice little addition to the actual bike. The frame feels really good. It's really strong. Even though it is a step through, there is no frame flexing to it. It is feeling really solid, and things do attach in a way that feels very high quality. The handlebars attach in a very professional way, the headlight as well. Everything feels just really high quality. This is by far the best one that I have ever tested. That being said, it is also the most expensive one I've ever tested, as well as being the heaviest one I've ever tested. So if any of those things are issues for you, then maybe look at another bike. Now, they do have a lot of other bikes, especially other step-throughs that are a lot lighter. So if you want to look at those, I will also include those in the description as well. But everything just feels really high quality on here, and the price, it does reflect that a little bit. Guys, that being said, I really appreciate you guys checking out this video. If you want to see more motorized vehicle reviews, I'd love to put this on the channel, so just leave a comment below. That being said, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.